What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we are having a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Collect to Build the Merciless. And so here we have the Merciless completely built and off the display stage. Now before we have a look at the figure, let's look at his one and only accessory. The Merciless here does come with the God Killer sword, which does come with the Batman Who Laughs, and it looks really good. I do love the detailing on it. Other than that, Merciless here doesn't come with any other accessories. No display stand, no alternate pieces, just the God Killer sword, which is perfectly acceptable for the figure. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually take a look at Batman from Earth -12. And so here we have a closer look at the Merciless, and I think McFarlane has done a fantastic job with this figure. He might be a little bit too big, but I'd rather have a big hulking Batman in armor than a tiny one, and this figure is done beautifully. There's a lot of things to love about this figure. Taking a look at the helmet here, we do have Batman in his God of War helmet. For those of you who don't know, this is Batman is from Earth -12, gets corrupted by the helmet of Ares, and that's pretty much what we have here. I'm not going to spoil the comic for you because it's a really nice read. If you want to go ahead and read it, go ahead and check out Batman the Merciless. You're probably going to enjoy it as much as I did. Now, I really love the shading here they did on the helmet. They did put some black wash right here on the eyes, and you can see that looks really nice. And I do believe that that red isn't actually there. It's just reflecting from the plastic and the lighting. And the reason I say that is if you pop the head off the Merciless, he actually has a red insert underneath his head, and that's to give him those piercing red eyes, and those look really nice. You can see the helmet is done exceptionally well. We do have a crest coming up here. The eyebrows are really protruding right there on the armor, and then of course we do get bat wings on the helmet because it did take the form of Batman's gear when he did put the helmet on, and he just looks really nice. And that's just the head sculpt. Everything else about this figure is also well done. Taking a look at the chest here, we do have the emblem of the Merciless, which could be a little bit better on mine. You can see right here there is a little bit of a scrape, which I'm not too fond of that. I have 3 other torsos. I can probably switch that out for another one, so we'll see what the other ones look like. But yeah, he looks really, really nice. I do love this Batman and Wonder Woman amalgamation here. Then you do have almost like a bat effect going on his chest piece, so that does look cool. His collar does go all the way up, covering his neck, and if we turn to the back, you can see it would protect his neck from attacks from behind. I really do like this cloth piece, well, not cloth piece, it's like a piece of fur that he has on, and this is where the pauldron's attached to, and those are done really well. I love the way the pauldron's attached, although there's ways that they could have done it better to give it a little more articulation, but it works for what it is. And you can see he does have a silver dry brush throughout his armor, which I think they did a fantastic job. And the pauldrons are labeled left and right, so if you are confused on which one, just read the little label on the inside and I'll tell you what side they go on. So having a look at his arm here, you can see they did a really fantastic job sculpting the chainmail right here. Just beautiful. That is exceptional work right there. Really love the chainmail underneath his armor. The pauldron does a really good job of covering that up, but it's kind of sad that it covers up such a beautiful sculpt right there, and I really love the way this chainmail came out. So yeah, it is a little bit of a shame that we cover most of that up. Right here on his bicep, you can see he has spiked bicep protector right there. Now, one thing I really don't like about this figure is that he has armor all the way down his arm. The reason I don't like that is, well, for one, he wouldn't be able to move his arm if he had armor from the bicep going all the way down. 2, it does limit some articulation here, and you can see they did sculpt a little bit of chainmail on the inside of his gauntlet right there. But it does look a little bit strange seeing as how he has just pure armor going from the bicep down to the elbow, and I would have liked to see some chainmail sculpt right there. You could kind of make it out on this side, but it should be going a little bit higher. I'm sorry, I'm just an enthusiast on medieval armor like this, so if I get a little technical, I don't mean to like criticize the figure too much because it is based off a comic. But having a look at his gauntlets here, you can see they continue that silver dry brush, which looks really nice. There's a black wash, a dry brush. There's so much little details in here that you really get lost just looking at it, and it's just really, really impressive. Kudos to McFarlane for making such an impressive figure. Taking a look at his hands here, he does have two grip hands for holding the God Killer sword, and you can see that the armor is done really nicely. You can see some joints here in the hand. If we rotate the hand like that, you can see his hand is completely armored, which again, that would not be accurate because you would be able to close your hand. But I digress. Moving back onto his chest armor right here, you can see they did a really good job sculpting some detailing in here. It's not just a solid, soft sculpt. There's some rough edges to it. Like it's been forged, which I really do like that little motif. And we have some more of that continuation of the bat logos going all the way down. I'm pretty sure if you were to remove this layer by layer, it would be bat emblem under bat emblem under bat emblem, because that's literally what it looks like. Going on to his belt, gone are the days of the utility belt for the Merciless here. He no longer has any need for utility belts. He just has these side plates of armor right here. And I'm a little disappointed in these side plates. Out of all the pieces of armor, these are really smooth. I would have loved to see some of this detail that they put here in the chest all throughout this, because that does look a little bit jarring, having so much detail on the armor, and then this sharp contrast on the smoothness of his hip joints right there. And it's even back here, it's really smooth, and you compare that to all his armor where it has texturing, wear and tear on it. This is completely smooth, and I don't like that. The skull is a nice touch, and you can see he has spiked chains going all throughout. Now, unfortunately, the chains are sculpted plastic, so you're not going to get any posing out of that, which I would prefer this over the actual real chain. We do have a cloth for his codpiece coming all the way down, and you can see it's tattered, it's torn. My headcanon is that this is a remnant of his cape that he's using as a tunic. And I guess you can see how that is, because it kind of does look like the remnants of a Batman cape, if not several Batman capes. But moving that off to the side, let's see if we can show off his codpiece, which surprisingly he isn't wearing a codpiece. It's just straight chainmail going all the way down. And you can actually see where the legs attach. We do get a little bit of rotation out of that, as you can see right there. And it kind of does break up the illusion that it's a solid piece, because you can see a really heavy line right there. So that is a little bit unfortunate, but the armor is done exceptionally well. We still get that black wash throughout it. Unfortunately, we don't have any silver dry brushing on the legs. We have some right here on the greaves and the knee pads, but we don't have any right here in the thigh guards, which that is a little bit unfortunate. And then we just continue that spiked motif going down all the way down his greave. As you can see, his foot here has a really nice profile, and you can see it has a spike at the very end of it. So overall, the Merciless here has a lot of nice detail going throughout him. Yes, he does have some spots which I think could be done a little bit better, but for what he is, this is a spectacular release. So what we're going to do now is compare him to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have the Merciless posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have the Merciless posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure in a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have the Merciless posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger in a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. And finally, here we have the Merciless posed next to a McFarlane Multiverse Superman and a McFarlane Multiverse Batman. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a closer look at the Merciless's articulation. Now, I don't know how you prefer saying it. Do you prefer it said Merciless, or do you prefer it Merciless? Because I've heard it said both ways. I've said it both ways throughout this review. But anyway, moving on to his articulation, the Merciless here does have a double ball joint here in the neck. Unfortunately, because of the way the head is sculpted, he doesn't really get too much movement out of that. It does look up about that far, and then he can look down only about that far. So it's straight, up, and down. We only got 3 spots for that, unfortunately. Even though it is a double ball joint, the way it sits and the way it's sculpted, it does limit articulation just a little bit. He does have some head tilt that goes left and right. He does have a head swivel, but unfortunately his helmet does clash with his armor, so he doesn't really get a full 360. So he is a little bit hindered there. His arms are on a ball joint, so they do go all the way around. Really do like that. We have a slight butterfly joint because it is a ball socket and a ball joint, and this is just a cap that hides a gap. His pauldrons right here are on a single ball joint, as you can see. If we take those off, we do get better range of articulation. His arm does go all the way out like that, past horizontal, so I do like that. Does go all the way around, but as you can imagine, if you have the pauldron on, that's about as high as it can go before you pop the pauldron out of socket. So he is a little bit limited in that. And even with the pauldron, I do have an issue with the left arm, that the ratchets on his hinge are so stiff, it does pop his arm out quite a bit. Even with the pauldron on, you can at least get his arm all the way out to the side, so that's no problem. So I really do like that. He doesn't have a traditional bicep swivel, but he does have rotation down here at the elbow. And then because of how bulky he is, we do get a single bend at the elbow, not even giving us 90 degrees, unfortunately. So that is a little bit of a shame. He does have a ball hinge here at the wrist, so we do have inward movement. We can turn this joint this way to have up and down movement, but it is fairly stiff. A lot of joints on him are really stiff, so do be careful when moving him around. He is a bigger figure, so you will try to apply more pressure. Don't do it. There is a good chance that you can break the figure if you do that. So moving his arms out. He does have really decent torso joints. We have a ball joint right here at the upper torso, which does move forward and back a little bit, side to side, and it does pivot. Then we have another ball joint down here at his waist, and putting those 2 joints together, he does lean to the side, to the other side, leans back, leans forward. Now, if you do push him too far, there is a chance you can pop him out of the joint. I've done that several times, but I guess it doesn't want to do that now, so that's a good thing. His legs, as you would expect, are hindered by his armor plating right here, so they only go out about that far. I think you can push it a little bit. Yeah, you can push it to almost 90 degrees, but you are bending this piece of armor right here, and having that bent for longer periods will warp the plastic. Leg does kick out to the side about there, but you can see his armor plate does want to bring it back. We do have a slight thigh swivel where his leg pegs in. We have a single bend at the knee, at least giving us close to 90 degrees, so that is pretty decent. Leg does kick, or foot does kick back because of that hinge, kicks forward, does rotate, and then we have forward facing pin for rocker ankle, and then finally we have a very generous toe hinge. So other than that, the Merciless here doesn't have as much articulation as the previous figures we've had a look at, but he is a really imposing figure. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the McFarlane Collect to Build Merciless pose for my final thoughts, and overall, this is an impressive Build-A-Figure. I know McFarlane hasn't really given us too many Build-A-Figures. This is actually the second Build-A-Figure that McFarlane has given us. The first one being the Batmobile, which was a nice little trinket to have around your desk, but it really wasn't something that a lot of people wanted. The Merciless here is something I know a lot of DC metal fans really did want, because something we have been craving have been metal figures, and that's something that Mattel and DC Collectibles have not given us. And I am really glad that McFarlane is tackling the Dark Knights from the metal series, because they are fantastic looking characters. Merciless here is no different. He is a really impressive figure, and I'm really glad to have him in my collection. Now, if you are trying to build the Merciless, you do have to only pick up 4 figures, and that is the Crow Robin, the Batman Who Laughs with the Sky Tyrant Wings, Dark Knight's Metal Batman, and the Infected Superman. The only thing is, each of those figures does cost $24, so rounding that off, we does come out to $25. 25 times 4 is $100, so it is going to cost $100 to complete your very own Merciless. However, I do feel like that is well worth the price of admission. The articulation on him could be a little bit better, but for what he is and how he's drawn in the comics, this is a fair representation of what he looks like. So McFarlane definitely nailed the sculpt here. If you are trying to build the Merciless, like I said, it will cost you $100, and I'm pretty sure it would be a little bit more if you try getting the parts individually, because people are really looking for money in this time of age, and that is a little bit unfortunate. But if you can get hold of the Merciless wave, I really do recommend you should add them to your collection, especially if you're a fan of the Dark Knight's Metal series. You're gonna need all 7 of the Dark Knights to have going up against your future Justice League when McFarlane gets around to give us them. Merciless here, I think, is a welcomed addition to anyone's collection. And with that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other McFarlane Multiverse videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.